when there's a... That would be the motto for the fantastic ground staff here at the state-of-the-art facility, the Broward County Cricket Stadium here in Lauderdale. A terrific job being done by the groundsmen to get this ready for play. And although we have had a reduction, it's now the Western Conference in batting. And after Duckworth-Lewis, they now require 102 runs for victory. The two openers, Chitna Prasad and Gargi Bogle, who we would have seen a sneak peek of yesterday. Very aggressive batsman, so she'll be crucial to this run chase. And we've already had a over from the power hitter in this team, Holly Charles from the northern end, and now Onika Wallison trying to get that first wicket. So the Western, they require some 98 more runs for victory. This should be a good contest. This one short, hooked, pulled away. Excellent cricket shot. First boundary for the Western Conference, as well as Chitna Prasad. Really got under that one quite early, picked up the length. Just put that one easily into the boundary. The deep backward square in place now. So the first 6 overs will be power play overs, a maximum of 2 fielders allowed outside the 30-yard circle. However, the captain, Bhaskar, only opting to have 1, and that's the deep backward square now. So trying to have it in place for that pull shot by Prasad. She plays it so well, as we just saw. So Onika Wallison, she's getting some lateral movement with the newer ball, of course, in these overcast conditions. After that inclement weather we would have had. This time on the other side. So seem to be using her wrist a bit there, getting some movement. She'll just need to get things as lined up as possible. And very pleased to welcome back Julia Price into the commentary box. Julia, you've almost done some ground staff work. You've been everywhere. Fantastic that we're out playing cricket again on, I can tell you, 2 hours ago, things didn't look very likely.
No, it didn't. And it is great that we've got a game happening here. And only just, mind you, 20 overs required for it to be considered a game in 50-over cricket. So a really good start here. So again, the girls will be quite familiar with chasing the 102 total off just the 20 overs.
Yeah, these two at the crease will be pivotal. Julia, you've spoken about Gargi Bogle and her explosiveness at the beginning of the innings. How critical do you think she is, especially in these power play overs?
I think it's actually essential to have someone who's a big hitter. Chetna Prasad's pretty good as well, but I think that Gargi Bogle's the key person that you want out there. She's a left-hander. She's an aggressive style batter. She does that naturally. We had a bit of a chat about how she went about the game yesterday, and she really got in her own head. She was quite excited, actually, about being at this stadium. She'd never played in a stadium. She'd never been in a stadium other than when she watched India play the West Indies here. So she was really excited that she got to play the game here and probably didn't play her natural game yesterday. So she'll be looking to come out and make amends to that today. And obviously Gargi and Chetna know each other quite well. Gargi based in LA and Chetna based in the Bay Area.
Looking to work that one into the onside. And it was a pity that the rains came when the Eastern and Central Conference were really going along nicely with Holly Charles at the crease. She was putting on a show with her power hitting ability. In came the inclement weather, but now she's required in a different aspect in terms of her fielding. And on your screen, Julia, you can see the groundsmen. Credit to them because they really put in the hard yards to get the Lauderdale ready in terms of the outfield. The Super Soaker was out. And we're really grateful that, you know, these girls could be playing, these women playing again, what looked not likely at all.
Yeah, it was a great effort, and they actually tried so hard yesterday to get us on as well and just couldn't manage it, unfortunately, but we've got it in the nick of time. They've had the super soaker out there soaking up a few little puddles around the place, but pitch was covered pretty quickly when the rain did come down, and they've also managed to just soak up anything that was lying around. So great effort from the ground staff here.
Yeah, definitely getting some lateral movement, but she hasn't found her consistency just yet. This over's been loose. And when you're only chasing 102, or sorry, defending 102, you can't afford that.
No, she hasn't quite found her radar at this stage. Annika Wollaston's played a fair bit for the USA and played it with Grenada as a young 16-year-old as well. So she's got a fair bit of experience up her sleeve, but just not being able to control it at the moment.
Much better delivery, and this time through the gate. That's a big wicket. Excellent delivery after what was turning out to be a loose over. She finally finds her range. The accuracy on display. Onika Wollaston strikes.
Yeah, she got some really nice late in-swing there on Chetna Prasad. Really surprised her. But a beautiful delivery, and that's what you want from your opening bowlers, is to have some little bit of late swing, really take advantage of that new ball. And she certainly reaped the rewards there with the wicket of Chetna Prasad. And Chetna has been dismissed for 9 runs.
Yeah, and she was looking dangerous with that initial pull shot she would have played off the bowling of Wollaston early on. So definitely a big wicket. That was an excellent delivery. The way it swung. And Chetna Prasad, unfortunately, had no answers for that delivery. So a big wicket in the first for the Western Conference. They'll need some more of that. Sorry, the Eastern Central Conference, correction, will need some more wickets in that vein if they're to be successful in this encounter. I expect this one to come down to the wire. You have, in terms of the power play over, a good start for the Western Conference in terms of the scoring rate being 14 and just 2.1 overs. But the wickets column, that will be what the Eastern and Central Conference will be focused on. You can see Shabani Bhaskar, in the middle. Just looking to ensure that she continues to put pressure on the new batsman. We're also seeing a change in bowling as well. Nishka Kumar into the attack. So just the 1 over given to Holly Charles. This one into the deep. Won't get to the boundary. Good piece of work being done to save a certain boundary. So they've got to be very careful with Gargi Bogle. Always possesses the threat with her attacking intent and her aggressive nature, especially in this T20 format. It will suit her game in these first initial power play overs. And this one wide outside the off stump. So she'll have to bowl that one again. Much better on that occasion. Good adjustment from Kumar. So interesting decision to just give Holly Charles a solitary over. We did see Onika Wollaston be able to prize the wicket of Prasad in the last over. And this one, again, more runs for the Western Conference. They're really going along nicely. Some more good fielding in the deep. You can see some water there on the surface, so it will be a slow outfield. You've got to really work hard for your runs. So expensive thus far from Nishka Kumar. Gone from 5 runs in this over thus far. So some thinking to be done. 6 runs, correction. Some thinking to be done for Shabani Bhaskar, the captain of the Western Conference. Not a lot of runs to play with. Remember, that revised total set for the Western Conference to win this game, 102. Much better delivery. So she's got to be very precise with her tactics. It'll be interesting to see if she goes back to Onika Wallison, which you would expect. Even though she was expensive, that ability to swing the ball back into the right-hander. Taking Chitna Prasad by surprise. Allowed appeal. And the umpire, German Lindo, wasn't interested. Be interested to see that one again. May have just been going down leg with the angle. Oh yeah, may have been some bat as well. Looking to play across that one. So got to be careful, Gargi Boglish. She'll be very important to this run chase. End of the over. At the end of 3 overs, the Western Conference, they're going along nicely, well above the required run rate. They're 20 for 1. Into the onside, more runs.
Go, go. Jeez.
Come back for 2. They're well above the rate here, Judah. If they continue in this vein, the Western Conference will get home quite easily. They still got the captain, Sindhu Sriharsha, to come. The power hitting ability of Uzma Iftikhar as well. So the partnership, these two at the crease, will be pivotal to the Western Conference chances, maximizing the power play.
Yeah, to try and defend 102, you really need to take wickets. Much better ball there from Gitika Kadali. A little bit of a surprise for herself when she's appealing. But I think they were pretty happy with the dot. Gargi Bogle batting very well at the moment. Really a lot more positive than she was yesterday. Great to see, though, that they've got the slip in place. I would love to see them having a gully as well, particularly with the left-hander and the ball going across her. Works that one off the hip. I'm not sure if they're going to say that she's played a shot there, because it will be a leg by. And it looks like maybe she got a little bit of bat on that. Nope, he's going to call it a leg by. Must have just got a little shot in there.
And in terms of the changes, we've already seen 2 bowling changes from the opening bowlers, Wallison and Charles. Then we've had Nishka Kumar. What did you make of sort of Shabani Bhaskar's decision? She's clearly trying to not allow these 2 batsmen at the crease to settle, but also working against it because Onika Wallison bowled beautifully to get the wicket of Chetna Prasad.
Was a little expensive though with a few of the extras, but I think particularly in T20 cricket, and that's what we're playing at the moment in this second innings, is that we're trying to, they'll be trying to put the batters off by constantly changing the bowlers, not letting them settle. So it's a pretty good ploy from Shivani Bhaskar, but it doesn't allow the bowlers themselves to settle as well at the same time. So hopefully they've got that T20 mindset and the understanding that they'll be changing pretty consistently.
In the air, should be taken and just dropped, but a chance of a run out as well. It's all happening here at the Broward County Stadium. 2 chances at the wicket, unfortunately for the Western Conference, unable to get the breakthrough.
I really like that tactic there from Gitika Kadali. Tried to really jam it in there. Asani Vegala was a little bit surprised that the ball got up on it, and it's cut off the pitch a little bit into Asani Vegala as well. So manages to squeeze through for the run. It was a little bit of a panic run. So these two need to have a bit of a discussion mid-pitch, really consolidate, really take a bit of a breath. They've got plenty of time to get these 102 runs. Just Gargi Bogle defending one there. A little solidly, probably tried to squeeze it a little square of the wicket to see if she could get that single off the defensive shot. Good lengths, though, by Gitika Kadali.
Yeah, and I was very impressed with the approach Kadali took with the bat in hand. So now that she's been able to follow up that approach with ball in hand, with that newer ball, and I like the aggression being shown thus far. Makes her a good cricketer. Excellent delivery. Angled in, full, fired in at the stump. That's hurt.
It looks like it's just a leg by there. It's clipped her on the outside of the heel, I think, and the umpires have judged that going down leg side. The captain's very happy with her bowler. Gitika bowling a very good over there.
Well, as we got the interim in terms of between overs, Julia, in terms of change in format, obviously having a 50-over game, then reduced to a 20-over game. A lot of these players very inexperienced in terms of facing multiple formats, especially on one day. What are some of the things that you reiterate going into a T20 innings like this now?
Well, particularly, it probably depends a fair bit on what they're actually chasing, or if you're the batting or bowling team. We've got Asif Mujtaba, who's the coach of the under-19 USA team, and he's in charge of the Western team today. So plenty of experience there, but he'll be getting them to be as aggressive and have as much intent as possible to be rotating that stroke constantly, be putting the pressure back on the fielders, which we haven't really seen in the 50-over format at this stage. As a bowling attack, you'll be attacking the stumps as much as possible, keeping as many modes of dismissal in play. Nishka Kumar, good areas, good young kid coming up through from the Maryland area, or DC Tigers she played for this year. Not too many left armers going around in the USA system at the moment, so it's great to see that we've got a young up-and-coming player with such good potential. And Bogle won't be happy that she's missed that one. A little bit wide, no slip in place, and plenty of space down to third. She's got the short third there in Disha Dhingra.
If we could focus in on Gargi Bogle, because I think it's a very interesting situation for her, being one of the young, explosive opening batsmen. We saw her yesterday. She sort of got bogged down, as you mentioned, in terms of just maybe by the occasion. This is very new for a lot of these players. Today, after your discussion, she's looked way more comfortable. How do you manage a talent like that? Someone that's able to go hard at the top of the innings, especially maybe in a T20 format, which probably suits her game even more.
Yeah, we have a lot of talks about her batting plans and gear shifts and how she's going to start off her innings and which particular balls are the ones that she's going to hit. So it's about working on their strengths, but also understanding their weaknesses at the same time. So we're trying to get her a little bit clearer in her head about how she actually wants to, which balls she's going to score, which ones are she's going over the top. Will she go over the top early? But the idea of being an opener with the two fielders out is to really take advantage of that boundary, particularly when you're a big hitter like herself.
So remember that 102 set for victory after the Duckworth-Lewis coming into play. The Eastern Central Conference getting to 133 for 6 in 40.3 overs. That would have been a very exciting end to the innings with Holly Charles in. Nonetheless, the weather gods deemed it another way. Just grateful, Julia, to have play again. You know, I really thought it would have been a repeat dose of yesterday, but good drainage here at the Lauderdale Stadium.
Yeah, a little nutmeg there from a Vagela. But managed to get the single. Good call through by Gargi Bogle. Asani wasn't quite sure where that one had gone, but again, good areas there from Nishka Kuma. And yes, you are lucky that we have got this game going ahead. And the ground, as you said, has drained really well. The ball's still travelling quite quickly across the ground, considering how slow it was earlier in the day.
Judging by what I've seen thus far in these last couple of days, Julia, it seems to be that a lot of these players are very versatile in the sense that you look at someone like a Isani Vaghela opening the bowling with her seam in terms of for the Western Conference when they were bowling earlier today, and now being able to come in bat at 3. What is it in terms of the versatility that you underscore with a lot of your players? Because a lot of them you take for someone like a Holly Charles, able to finish innings but then open the bowling. They seem to be involved with both bat, ball, and sometimes in the field as well in all 3 facets of the game.
Great shot down the ground. Gargi Bogle over pitching there was Nishka Kumar, and she's hit that just for 2, hasn't run on. But what you're talking about exactly right. A lot of the players, we do have so many all-rounders. And the good thing is that a lot of the girls, we usually talk about 2 out of the 3 skills of what we're trying to get them to do, whether that's a bowler and a fielder or a batter and a fielder, batting and bowling. So a lot of those girls at least got 2 out of the 3 skills. So we're really getting them to try to make sure, particularly because they're so young, that you don't necessarily have to slot yourself in any particular position at any time. You can actually work your way into becoming a certain type of player, and you don't have to decide that at 14 or 15. So really encouraging of these girls to continue to challenge themselves as a bat, as a bowler, and particularly in the field, because everyone has to field at some stage.
So you look at that target of 102. A lot of work to be done thus for both of these teams. The Western Conference with the bat in hand. It's been a very good start. Being at 29 now in the initial 5 overs. 1 over remaining of this power play. That required run rate dipping 5. So they're cruising at this stage. And with Gargi Bogle at the crease, the longer she bats, the faster she scores. I'm sure the Western Conference will feel a lot more comfortable. That was a look at the Western Conference in terms of how they fared with ball in hand. Uzma Iftikhar being the pick of the bowlers. And now with the bat, well, it's been excellent. Thanks to the openers. "16-year-old Bhumika Badararaju into the attack. Very impressive yesterday in the first 50-over encounter of this System Mortgage Women's National Championships 2021, the first 50-over battle. We were able to get in 26.5 overs yesterday. Much more fortunate today, and I can tell you one that I'm very impressed with is the off-spinner, Bhumika. Just her consistency, the use of flight at a very young age. There again, you can see to start a spell. Not afraid to flight deliveries, and that's always a big thing. This one, into the gap. They want to. It's a slow outfield and really good running by Gargi Bogle at the crease. Always looking for runs. And Judah, yesterday we actually were speaking about Bhumika Badararaju and her approach, the way that she flights deliveries, and at such a young age is never scared to be hit. And how important is that to have as a quality when you're a young spinner coming up in white ball cricket?
Yeah, it's vitally important. And the other thing is to understand you're going to get hit. So it's about where you're putting your field. And I really like the fact that she's got a field at the moment, a long on and a cow, which is a really good field set for that leg side hitting, which most of the players on this team, Nasani Vagala, definitely likes to hit that direction. So, yeah, I like the fact that she's got that confidence to throw it up, but also the captain's got the confidence of knowing where to put that field and sort of backing up the bowler's thoughts.
I tell you look around at this weather, you would really think we're in the UK, not Fort Lauderdale. But that's how it's been in this hurricane season in Florida. A quick single again. Excellent running. Sure, Coach Price must be happy with that.
I'm extremely happy with that. We've been discussing that a fair bit about the inability to a lot of the girls to have the confidence to drop and run in the circle and take on some of those infield fielders. So it's I'm very pleased to see that. That was a great run, and it wasn't actually high risk at all. So glad to see that they're going to be able to do that. What that causes is obviously starts to bring the field in a little bit more to try and stop those singles, which then allows you a bit more space to be able to hit behind them.
End of the power play, 31 for 1. Well, we've been speaking about the T20 format, and remember, you can catch some more action as this week progresses of the Sister Mortgage Women's 2021 National Championships. We've got 6 exciting games already into the second one of the series. Friday, we have the final 50-over game, and Saturday, 2 T20s, followed by the final on Sunday. So some really exciting cricket coming for you. Just exposing the talent that the USA women's national team has to offer. Remember, the 28 best females in the country all in one place at Lauderdale. And this is a beautiful shot. It was full, and she pounced on it immediately. Isani Vaghela, she's really grown in confidence at this crease.
Yeah, just a little bit too full there from Nishka Kumar. Bowled really nicely in her first over, just got her lengths right, and that one just over pitching. A little bit of width as well. It did have a little bit of swing away just towards the end of it, but Isani Vaghela absolutely took advantage of that width and that length as well. The big point we were talking about with these two before was their running between wickets. Both Gargi Bogle and Isani Vaghela both got the most in our yo-yo test recently, and 16 and 17 each, I think they got, which is pretty high. And what that actually allows is, these girls to get through, one, not to be tired when they're out there making good decisions because they're a lot fitter than they need to be. So we're really working on this group's fitness at the moment. Really good delivery there from Nishka Kumar.
It's fantastic to hear, Julia, that, so much emphasis is being placed on fitness. And I guess when you have someone of the caliber of Julia Price at the helm, someone that's been the first woman in the Big Bash, the professionalism that you bring, it really tends well for USA women's cricket. So very excited to see the journey that cricket takes off under your tutelage as the years continue.
And the other good thing is that the girls are actually buying into that part of the program as well. They're already seeing and starting to reap some of the benefits of being in the program, particularly those that have been in it sort of for the last 2 years. You can really see the ones that have really committed to the program have really started to get better in the way that they're going about their bowling. They're stronger at the crease. They're holding their shape a lot better when they're batting. Their running between wickets is much better. They're quicker. Their judgment, everything's sort of improving just based around that fitness. So Bert Cockley, former New South Wales and Western Australian fast bowler, and I saw he was playing the other day in the minor league as well, is our strength and conditioning guy. So he's been doing a great job for us to get the girls in the shape they need to be. Still plenty of work to go, and we've got a lot of young kids that are coming through, and they're still growing, but they're getting stronger all the time, and their positive attitude towards it is really pleasing to see.
I can tell you, Bert, a man of many talents. He also is a cameraman as well. He's got a drone. Take some epic video. So this guy, man of many talents. And although Nishka Kumar went for that boundary to start the over, I love the fact that she's always trying to attack the stumps, even if she gets too full, because they do need wickets, the Western Conference. End of the 7th over. The women's Western, 38 for 1 now. Really going nicely at this stage, thanks to Gargi Bogle and Isani Vaghela.
Yeah, the beauty of having that left-arm bowler is that she's going to be challenging the stumps a lot, particularly to the right-hand batters. So great to have her in this group. Bit of a surprise selection in the fact that she, Naina Bedi, the former Pakistani women's batter, unfortunately had to pull out due to her husband having an injury. He's injured himself. Obviously didn't want her to come away, and so she's had to stay back and look after him. But Nishka came into the team as a bowler purely because the selectors were thinking of more balance in that group, and she certainly brought some really good variety already to this attack for the East.
Well, Badaraju seems to be coming back into the attack for her second. One thing that I'm curious about, Julia, in terms of the seamers, we've seen so many on display over the last 2 days. They've been all pretty much consistently around that pace, more searching for the accuracy. As a coach and in terms of your coaching staff, when is it that you look to sort of developing the pace as well of these fast bowlers?
Yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one. Sometimes it's about just letting them go and try and bowl as fast as possible and not worry about the accuracy and the stock balls. But at the same time, that actually gets there's a confidence issue around that when people are bowling fast, but they can't actually hit the spot that they want to all the time. So we're trying to work on that. And along with batters as well, it's about trying to be strong enough physically to be able to bowl as fast as you can, but as well as being consistent. And the same with batting, trying to still be as solid and have a base to hit off so that you can still get the power, but you're also getting the accuracy. So there's a bit of a balance in regards to how we're working on, and even spinners to a degree, wanting them to try and rip it as much as possible, particularly leg spinners, which we don't really have a huge number of in the United States at the moment. So kids, if you're out there and you want to play for the States, start practicing your leg spin.
More flight from Badaraju and more runs. These two really put pressure on the field. And the captain, Shabani Bhaskar, will have a lot to think about. It's a very interesting point you make, Julia, because I think even in the men's game as well, the amount of finger spinners I've seen, especially left arm spinners, recently at the LA Open 2021 championships, I would have observed maybe about 20 to 30 left arm spinners, but you don't find as many wrist spinners. So clearly some consistency in both the men's and women's game.
Yeah, there is, and I'd actually really love some left arm spinners as well. But at the moment, we've just got the one at the moment with Nishka Kumar. We've got another young player who's come over from Australia with her family. She's still got a few years to be eligible, but she's a left arm bowler and bat. So another great shot there, a little over pitched from Bhumika Badaraju, and she's been hit for a very needed boundary from the west. Gargi Bogle. Again, another discussion we had yesterday is what's she going to do with that loose ball? What does she consider a loose ball? And obviously the full toss is one of those. So great to see that she's put that in space, which is what we've talked about, which has now forced the change with Gitika Kadali pushing back at long on. So a good win there for Gargi Bogle mentally over this Eastern team.
Much better on that occasion. Always looking to flight deliveries, and although she may travel to the boundary a couple times for a young 16-year-old off spinner, I like the action as well. Very different. Reminds me of Harbhajan Singh. But the power, she's got to attend to the power of Gargi Bogle, who's really batted well, and it speaks well to the depth of this team as well. The fact that arguably their best batsman in Sindhu Sriharsha isn't even out there as yet. She's still to come. So a lot of thinking to be done for the Eastern Central Conference as they defend this 102 required for victory. A further 59 runs required for the Western Conference to get over the line. So 59 from 72 deliveries.
You can see Lisa Ramjet is the change of bowler. She debuted here for the USA and picked up 4 for 3, I think, in one of her games. So obviously the player of the match in that game against Canada. So she'll know these conditions very, very well. It's a slow style bowling, which should be played as a spinner, but very accurate. Stump to stump. She's going to really challenge the batters. They're going to have to hit nice and straight and try and take on those two fielders that are on the circle at the moment, although the captain, Shabani Bhaskar, is just pushing herself back now at long on.
Of course, the initial 6 overs are completed, so you can have more than 2 outside that circle. And I want to also speak to you about the pathway of women's cricket in the U.S., Julia, in terms of moving through the intra-regionals, then to the regionals, which we would have seen earlier in the year, now to the nationals, and then moving up the ranks to the national team. How much do you think that pathway can sort of benefit USA women's national cricket if you can stick to that structure?
Yeah, very watchful there. Gargi Bogle, first ball from Lisa Ramj. It does take the pace off a lot and make it tough. It's actually the Sistar Mortgage women's domestic pathway as well. So thanks again for them to coming on board and supporting it all. And I think it's vitally important because that way we can actually start challenging girls and testing them at various levels and continuing to have this competition get harder and harder and tougher as we're going through. But at the same time, allowing plenty of options for new players to come in, to be seen at that intra-regional level, to be playing locally as well. And what we actually really want to make sure is that we're having club systems underneath those players from intra-regional through to regionals and now internationals.
Yeah, this is very interesting from Lisa Ramj. I like it with the run-up, but taking tremendous pace off deliveries. You see as you mentioned, the Sistar Mortgage domestic pathway for women and girls in 2021. Great to see the structure as well. And it'll be pivotal for the under-19 squad, which we will get a look at August 11th to the 13th when they have their national tournament, on how you transition that and bridge that gap between the under-19 and senior women's national team.
Yeah, absolutely. And the ICC obviously have now announced that they're having an under-19 Women's World Cup, which is specifically why we're sort of targeting that age group. But there are plenty of those under-19 girls here playing in the seniors, which is so pleasing that they've challenged a lot of the older players for their positions in this national championships. So they'll be playing again next week with a sort of another 13 or 14 other under-19 girls that can qualify for the under-19 World Cup. Just a little edge there from Asani. Smart batting. Knew there was no slip in play. No third as well, so plenty of space behind the wicketkeeper. Just had to beat the keeper in Mitali Patwarden.
And if we dial it back to the game here, Julia, for captain Shabani Bhaskar, who's bringing in some changes. He's got that packed offside feel still, something we saw in the Eastern Central Conference when they were batting as well. A trend in terms of trying to keep the bowlers consistently on the off-stump line. This one flighted again. Good use of that big long levers that she's got, Gargi Bogle. Where do you go to now if you're Shabani Bhaskar? We'll come back to that at the next over. Well, we still got a ball remaining.
What I like at the moment is that you can see that the West are starting to use their feet and playing Lisa like a spinner, as we've sort of been taught. Even the field itself, you can see the mid-wicket and the extra cover are nice and straight. They're just hitting it nice and long. They've actually got to start to try and have some risks. And at the moment, Asani Vagala has not hit one over the top at the moment. I'd be bringing in that mid-on and just trying to force her to actually try and clear over the top straight if she can do that. They've got to try and create wickets here. It's good gap hitting there from Vagala.
Yeah, it's impressive actually, because we spoke about the transition of different formats, and it's really good to see the way these two at the crease have adapted in Vaghela as well as Gargi Bogle. Know that this is a T20 encounter going along really nicely at the end of 9. Score 49 for 1. So after the Duckworth-Lewis reduction, the Western Conference team, the two comfortable batters at the crease require 53 more for victory. Should be a walk in the park the way these two have gone about after losing the wicket of Chetna Prasad, who went in the second over. The partnership has been outstanding between Vaghela and Gargi Bogle.
Couple of little adjustments there by the wicketkeeper. Just straightening up that field on the offside, which I quite like. Gargi hasn't really hit too many behind the wicket at this stage. There's plenty of space there, and I'm hoping she does start to look behind her. If the ball is a little wide, it's obviously turning away from her, being a left-hander, facing the off-spinner in Bhumika Badraju. Great shot.
Yeah, I may have misjudged that one a bit. The straight mid wicket fielder. But a 36-run partnership between these two. They've really been comfortable at the crease. That's what's impressed me the most. And I think it's all led by Gargi Bogle, being there from the onset, ball one. Just, using her experience to guide Isani along. So, as a coach, Julia, you must be tremendously happy with this.
Yeah, it's a much better performance than yesterday. There's a few nerves, as I mentioned, but at the same time, these girls are out there playing a T20 game. We know that they're very comfortable playing T20. They haven't played as much of the 50-over format, so it's a little bit of a shame that we didn't get the full game in. But at the same time, extremely happy and grateful that we've got any sort of game, and obviously we'll be back again on Friday for the third 50-over, despite not having completed a full 50-over game yet.
Yeah, we'll hope that the weather can spare us just for Friday. I just want to see 100 overs. Badaraju continuing. As a batter, how do you sort of approach playing Bhumika Badaraju? Because of the flight, you tend to see Isani Vaghela take the approach of looking to sweep or play into the onside. Gargi Bogle, on the other hand, is like to play it down the ground. For you, what was always your preference?
I liked using my feet to spinners, but I also didn't mind a slog sweep. So it's sort of, sort of that area within about probably a metre or metre and a half in front of you. As soon as it was a short pitched or someone was bowling into the wicket, I did find it a lot harder. At the moment, the way that Bhumika's been bowling, you can see that she is very much a flighted sort of style bowler. It's something that we can definitely work on with her, is being able to adapt to which sort of pitches that you potentially will be bowling on. We did see Uzma Iftikhar in the first innings bowl really quite well. With lots of all the time. And I think Bhumika could probably learn from that a little bit, and just that change of pace through the air. Nice flat one there, though, from her, which she's obviously mic'd up and can hear exactly what I'm saying. But yeah, Gargi Bogle, definitely you can see that she does like to come onto that front foot, hit straight down the ground. So at the moment, I think just by bowling at the stumps and just taking away just back of a length, I think is a good option for Bhumika Bhattacharya.
Just for our viewers at home, I can tell you, these women, they really play with a lot of pride, especially with a head coach like Julia Price, someone who's coached women and men in cricket at such a high level. So that is an added effect as well. And I'm sure they'll want to do you proud, Julia Price.
Yeah, good quick single there too. They've got a really good communication between these guys, and that's what you need to do, is pick up where you can on those quick singles. The second that she saw that was a leg stump line, she was always trying to tuck that around the corner. So it's a little bit of that anticipation that we have to keep working on with these players. Obviously, the more cricket they get to play, and in these particularly these competitions and the domestic pathway, it's really going to help a lot with their understanding and of where they can run between wickets and where their gaps are in the field.
Halfway stage in the innings. At the end of 10 overs, the Western Conference 52 for 1. They require a further 50 runs for victory from 60 deliveries. Julia, speak to the logistical difficulties sometimes in getting all of these women in one place at one time, being from so many various different states in the US, of course.
Yeah, it is tough. It's a decentralised program, so obviously the girls are all based around various places, and pretty much why we put together the domestic pathway that we've got. The intra-regionals is about trying to be as local as we could with the numbers that we knew we had around the country. So we had 12 teams in the intra-regionals this year, which was 3 teams sort of based in California, sort of a Seattle Bay Area combination team, a Bay Area and an LA team, which is great. Lisa Ramjet to continue. Oh, chance there. Couldn't hold on to that sharp chance from Gargi Bogle, belting it straight back down the ground. We also had 2 teams in Texas with a Houston and a Dallas team. We had 4 teams up in the Northeast in Philadelphia, Boston, DC, and New York. And then we also had 3 teams in the central southeast, which was 2 teams from Raleigh team, or 2 teams from North Carolina and 1 from Atlanta, Georgia. which was combined with this sort of Florida team. So by doing that, we were able to really work with a lot of local coaches in those areas and get those girls training in their hubs, which was really pleasing to see. We've got a lot of new talent that came out of that. A couple of those girls will be playing in the under-19s next week, which we hadn't seen before, so that's really, really exciting. And then obviously from those intra-regionals, we were able to pick the 4 regional teams that preceded this tournament. So it's been a really good process, and a really obvious one, so that girls can see exactly, if they want to play for their country, what they need to do.
Yeah, I honestly, I won't lie and say I knew. I would never knew the magnitude of the amount of cricket that these women are playing, and I think that all means well for the development of USA women's cricket on a whole, because when you have close to 200 female cricketers in the country playing in the participation level of the Sister Mortgage domestic pathway, building their way up through the inter-regionals, then the regionals, then the nationals, really you expect USA cricket to continue to develop, especially with quality coaching and just teaching the females the basics. That wasn't basic. Hit into the onside. Unfortunately, it deserved 4, but it won't get to the boundary because of the slow outfield.
No, I couldn't quite get there. Good little slog sweep there from Asani Vagala, sorry. She's really liking that shot. She can see that she's going to get a lot of value for that shot at the moment. There's only one person out on that square boundary on the leg side. Lisa Ramjet really needs to make sure that she's trying to get this ball as full as possible with the field that she's currently got set. She needs to force the batters to be hitting nice and straight, so it brings in those catches in front of the wicket, as well as that deep catcher at long on or mid wicket. Although they are now thinking of pushing back it's sort of a medium deep square. I'm not sure exactly what that field position is, but a really nice shot there again from Asani. She's might be able to get the forward, might just get run down as well. A bit of rain still thickening up the boundaries here in the grass, and couldn't quite get there. But she's been playing beautifully off the front foot through that cover, and just gave her a little bit too much width there from Lisa Ramjet. Yeah,
and if you're the captain, Shabani Bhaskar, surely you must be thinking about making a bowling change. I'm not sure if we'll see the 4th over of Bhumika Bhattaraju's spell, because she's still got the overs of Gitika Kodali, who only bowled 1 and just conceded 3 runs. And then, of course, Onika Wallison, who was expensive in the 2nd over, but she did prize that crucial wicket. It'll be interesting to see the way that Bhaskar goes in the next over. End of the 11th over, the Western Conference, 62 for 1, requiring further 40 more runs for victory. So these overs, they're really able to turn over the strike. Gargi Bogle very comfortable at the crease. What a knock it's been by her.
Yeah, she's really anchoring this innings, and that's sort of what she sees her role as well as being that hitter. She also is, it's quite a safe hitting sort of role. So she's playing the role that she likes at the moment. The other thing that they need to do is, you're right, they need to take wickets for the East. They need, to me as well, I think Holly Charles was the other one who bowled really well for the first opening over and hasn't been since. And I think she's just, Shabani Bhaskar is trying to take the pace off the ball. We can really see that, but at the moment, it's not really working. I'd be getting back out there, getting your Holly Charleses, getting your Onika Wallisons back in there, getting your Gitika Kadalas, getting those pace bowlers to really struggle. We saw Gitika Kadali bowl a short ball to Asani Vagala very early, and should have probably been out, but was a miscatch, and she just bowled a little bit of a wide there, unfortunately.
Yeah, that was the first short delivery, and that sort of aggressiveness I've seen in these 2 days. I was very impressed by that, hoping to see some more, just keeping things fresh, challenging the batters as they go on. So the captain, though, opting to go to Bhattaraja for her 4th. And really good manipulation there to get that one, squeeze that one past straight mid wicket.
Well, I think they know that they only need to get a runner ball, so that's a very intelligent shot there by Vagala. She's just played off the back foot, cross bat shot, but played it straight down to the long on fielder for a very, very safe one.
Really batted the situation nicely, Gargi Bogle, and just continues to do so by ensuring that she's not taking much risks. And when you have someone at the other end who's able to score 24 and 27 deliveries, always means well. Goes big with this one. There's a field out there. It's the captain. It'll only be one. So probably a misconnection helping her on that occasion. Gargi Bogle.
Yeah, a nice shot, right idea from the bowling of Bhumika Bariaju. Good idea, trying to go over the top. It hasn't picked out the fielders quite yet. Another flighted delivery.
Yeah, one thing I've actually noticed about Isani Vaghela, even initially when she first came to the crease, facing the seaming options, she's got a very solid defense, that front foot defense. And we just saw it on display there again. So that definitely, as we all know, is a fundamental basic to any quality batsman. And then she's got this ability to work the ball off her legs and good running.
Yeah, her brother plays at a fairly high level, so I think it's a pretty competitive household there. So she's been playing cricket for a fair while, and some really good, again, communication between these two. Their running between wickets has been exceptional and really put pressure on those infielders.
Yeah, they need a wicket here and need it fast. The Eastern and Central Conference, after having that score of 133, then revised to 102, using her feet again, is Vaghela. There is protection. But they're coming back for two. Excellent running, some miscommunication. So really meant to say excellent by the captain, Shabani Bhaskar, at the cow corner boundary.
Well, we've just been talking about how good their running was, and that was probably a not the best example of the running. I think Asani, she whether she thought it was going to be fielded earlier, but the second a fielder hits the ground on the boundary, you know that's an extra run. So learning experience there. It's what I keep calling it when they make little mistakes like these. It's an opportunity for them to learn and understand next time that they need to make sure that they're watching the ball the entire time. The ball isn't dead until it's come back in. So they've definitely missed out on a run there, which could be tight at this stage. They're cruising along, but at the same time, you never know what's going to happen in cricket.
On a personal level, Julia, how was it going from coaching, obviously, mainly women at the professional level, to then, and men but then going to now coaching a lot of younger females getting into the game? You know, we talk about that range from 13 to 19-year-olds because there are some featured in this series. How has that change been for you?
Yeah, it's been really exciting. What we try and do is just keep it as simple as possible for the players. There's also a lot of intrinsic learning. I think that's the best way of coaching these players. We've got Gitika Kadali who's come on as the change bowler at the far end as well. Speaking of one of those youngsters, we've just tried to keep it as simple as possible for these players. We were talking before about what we try and talk to them about, and it's about that stock ball, that best ball. So they've got one ball that they can rely on, that they know they can deliver day in, day out. And from there, you start to expand their range of balls that they can deliver. And the same thing happens with their batting as well. You sort of have them understanding what are their strengths when they're batting, keeping it nice and simple, but allowing them to keep out the good balls as well. Nicely worked behind the wicket there by Gargi Bogle, using the pace. And there's going to be overthrows here. This is great awareness. Well done, girls. Understanding that they're... sorry, I slipped into coach mode there for a minute. But great work from them to get that extra run. A little bit of lack of discipline there from the East.
Yeah, and if you're now joining us in the commentary box, Julia Price, the head coach of the Women's National USA team. Great to have you as always, Julia. And seems that the captain, Shabani Bhaskar, was listening to you because she's gone for her attacking bowler in Kodali and is already asking some questions.
Yeah, probably just allowing a little bit of width there. I nearly think the short third that they've got in Holly Charles there probably doesn't need to be there. It's probably going to beat her on either side. It has to nearly go straight to her. So to me, if you're going to have someone on the boundary and they've only got 3 out at the moment, you may as well have all 4 and have that defensive position down there behind the wicket in case there is a nick. Goes over the top, Goes over the top. Looking for that big shot. They're looking for the 2, but not there. Great work from Gargi Bogle.
Yeah, what's interesting to me is she's got the 2 fielders at the leg side boundary, which suggests that could be we see that ploy of the short bowling, which we did see early on in that initial over from Kodali. And this is something that interests me because I haven't really seen any of the other seaming options on display bowl short in this series thus far. So I like to see a bit of aggressiveness. I'm sure as a coach, you instill the importance of that because right now they are playing each other's comrades, but there will come a time where they'll have to face some tough opposition as well.
Just making a slight field change here. They have a 55-run partnership between these two, which is a great effort. You can see that they're just trying to set the field. putting in a, I think that's sort of a backward point-ish. I'm not really sure what that position is.
Almost like a 45 in place.
Came a bit wider on the crease there. It's good to see that she's trying something.
She's also got that fly slip. Holly Charles, that slip. I'm not sure it'll take some catching if a ball carries there. Maybe for that leading edge, which we saw early on the over.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a low percentage field that she's got at the moment. Be curious to see what she's going to dig one in here. Goes for the appeal. Not out. Just got the 3 on the leg side. She has got the one deep backward square, maybe for that short pitch delivery, but otherwise everyone else is pretty much up. They've got no one else back. They're trying to put the squeeze on. I like the fact that Gitika Kadali is coming wider on the crease and trying to bowl into the stumps of Asani Vegala.
Surely, come on. Gitika, I want to see that short delivery. You've got the protection. Change it up. Give us that aggression that we saw early on. She plays it safe. End to end the over at the end of 13. The Western Conference, they're very close to this target. Just requiring a further 31 to get from 42 deliveries to very comfortable batsmen at the crease. Well, the wicket taker for the Eastern Central Conference, the question of how long it would be, and the captain, Bhaskar. Can Onika Wallison, now with the ball being about 13 overs old, can she still get that lateral movement we saw in that first over? She's straight on the money, and Gargi Bowling may just want to get a move on in terms of trying not to let this get too tight, but they're in a very comfortable position at this stage.
Immediately, I like the fact that Onika Wallison is coming around the wicket to Gargi Bogle. We've seen that when Gitika Kadali was bowling, she only tends to want to come over the wicket. I think it's one of those areas that we can start working on with her, getting more and more comfortable coming around the wicket, particularly the left-handers. Some left-handers really like the ball coming into them so that they can really access that leg side. Others, prefer the ball going across them. So at the moment, I don't know if Gargi's going to like this. Tightening her up a bit, straight down the throat of Shabani Bhaskar. Doesn't carry, but well bowled. Good field set for that bowling.
It looked to be a change of pace as well for Monica Wallison. May have been a cutter there, pace off, trying to get this wicket of Gargi Bogle. Cricket is a funny game. You never know. One wicket brings two, and the Eastern Central Conference could be right back in things. At this stage, though, it's all the Western Conference with just 32 more required for victory. Opens the face. Can't beat the infield.
Well, she's going to have to be pretty tight here on Nicola Wallison. There's plenty of space. No one behind sort of point and around. If she gives any sort of width here, Vergel will be able to guide that down to that vacant third area for some easy runs. She is a good striker forward of the wicket. We've seen some of those lovely cover drives today.
Also pretty interesting that no fine leg or third in place. So she's got to be on the money, and as well as the keeper. Just string on that occasion.
Again, this is where another learning moment, I'll call it. There's so much space behind the wicket there, and they were both trying to really punch it forward of the wicket. Not a lot of value for shots at the moment in front of the wicket when you've got such a, you have to go over the top. On the leg side, you've got one deep at mid wicket, so there's plenty of space behind the wicket here without you having to do too much. That's high risk. Good shot there, just over pitched from Wallison. Vergel has just chipped that over the top to the deep fielder and at mid wicket.
Yeah, some innovation required, especially after the revised T20 format. But nonetheless, these two at the crease, very comfortable in this partnership as it's meandered along. And they've put their team in a dominant position to win this game. Being 72 for 1. And they need a wicket badly, the Eastern Central Conference. Loose delivery. A bit lucky there on Nicola Wallison. Just a single.
Just a single, and again, that probably reinforces my point of maybe looking behind you occasionally to all you need to do is get a little fine nick on that, and that's going to go for more than one. So they're just not maximising their scoring from the type of deliveries that are being bowled at them at the moment. When someone gives you that width and there's no one behind the wicket, you really need to start using that space behind you.
End of the over. At the end of 14 overs, the score is 72 for 1. They require a further 29 to get for victory from the remaining 36 deliveries. Gitika Kodali into the attack for her third over. Goes short, and Gargi Bogle gets this one nicely past square leg. It was hit powerfully. She got her body behind that one, but was unable to stop it, and really that will take any sort of pressure off these two in the middle. Excellent cricket shot from Gargi Bogle.
Yeah, it is a strong shot from Gargi Bogle. She does like the ball short. I'm not sure if Gitika Kodali meant to bowl that because she certainly doesn't have the field for that either. Protection's pretty much straight. Should be pitching it up as much as she can. Now they're dropping a fielder back, but is that for the bad ball or for the short ball? So just a little bit more clarity about what her bowling plan is here, or maybe it's her execution.
Just 16 years old, so a lot to learn for Kodali. Much better on that occasion, using the angle to her advantage. The weather really cleared up nicely. At one stage we were worried we would have finished the game, but let me not jinx it. The way we're going, seems that we'll have our first finished game of this Sistar Mortgage Women's National Championships 2021. One of the quick singles, some indecision. Good work done by Holly Charles.
But I like the fact that she's trying to call that off the bat. She knew what she was trying to do with the ball then, just didn't really execute as well as she could. These two, as we mentioned, have had such good communication with their running between wickets for majority of their innings so far. So you could see that Vergel was very keen to get off the mark there to back up, ready for that quick single if required. And that's what you want from your partner.
Edged, but not past Holly Charles. They scampered through for the quick single. I was quite surprised actually to not see Holly Charles back in the attack in terms of after her just solitary over for 4 runs.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have brought her back probably before either of these, before Wallison or Kadali. And again, my point there with Holly Charles being at short third, still went for the single, but with the ball going to her. So there's no real point to her being in that circle at the moment. She's not cutting off that single. And again, this comes back to understanding your role as a fielder. And if you are on the single, if you are on the circle, you are there to stop that single.
Excellent seam position there from Kodali, but a misfield. She won't be pleased.
That was Afia Kazi. She won't be happy with that little fumble there, particularly because they really need to put this pressure back on these two somehow, and just little fumbles in the field doesn't really help.
The one delivery remaining in this over. 31 in the innings. They want to keep this as distant as possible in terms of the runs required and the balls remaining, these two in the middle. The last thing the Western Conference would want is a loss of a wicket and bringing a new batsman in on the surface, which has proven to be tough to start.
Definitely, but one good thing that I've just seen is Gitika Kadali coming around the wicket to Gargi Bogle. So I'm glad that she's tried something different there. She knows that she has to try something to be able to get this wicket, so that's good work there from the east. Gargi Bogle, though, slaps it down to long on for another single. She moves to 38 off the 49 deliveries.
22 remain for victory from the 30 deliveries. Offer for this Western Conference to draw first blood in this series and get the win. This one in the air, but feel that square leg. Was unable to get there in the end. And imagine Sindhu Sriharsha, who you expect to carry most of the weight in this batting lineup for the Western Conference, hasn't even come out to bat and probably won't be required the way that these two are going in the middle. That must be excellent for not just the Western Conference, but at USA Women's Cricket on a whole.
Well, I'd be surprised if she actually did come out at this stage. I mean, she's got a little bit of hitting power there. We've got Lasia Malapati, we've got Uzma Iftikhar. They've got quite a few hitters in their group. Erica Rendler, who we know can be a good hitter, particularly in the T20 game in the opening or power plays. So, Monica Wallison to continue here. She's had that belted back. That's a beautiful shot there. You can really tell that Gargi Bogle's been out there for a while now. She's started to get the pace of the pitch. She's hitting balls and driving balls on the up, which is a sign of someone who's really in form and who's really got the conditions right now.
You can tell she's playing that delivery very late, right under her eyes. She'll be searching for that half century, being on 41, just 9 away. So the score now 83 for 119 more required for victory. Full delivery, but can't pierce the gap. Chance of a run out, should be a run out, and sloppy fielding. It gives a massive life to Isani Vaghela. They'll want to speak about that because they should not throw it away now, not needed, but they survive.
Yeah, there's probably a few coaching points in that opportunity, that ball then. One was the running between wickets, and obviously it was a beautiful shot. Maybe she thought she deserved the single for it. It was a lovely shot. But some good fielding there by, I think that's Annika Kumar in the covers, who threw it back to Onika Wallison, who wasn't behind the stumps and able to take that throw in from cover.
Chance of a run out again. They should really buy a lottery ticket after this, these two in the middle, because chance after chance. Vaghela was far out. She gave up almost, but she had to hit direct.
Yeah, great work there by Nadia Grooney at short cover.
Of course, pays off again. Onika Wallison. They just struck her and ricochet in the air. So another single for Gargi Bogle.
suppose what's the disappointing part for the East is these girls are hitting straight and being able to get it to runs. They're not making them play any high-risk shots at the moment, and that's what you want them to be doing.
Yeah, they'll have to definitely go back to the drawing board, the Eastern Central Conference, but at the same time, they were a bit unlucky with the inclement weather. They did have Holly Charles and Anika Watterson at the crease, as we see. Another 2 picked up by the Western Conference after that misfield at point. But they did have 2 very competent and powerful batsmen at the crease when the rains came, and you never know what could have happened in that final 10 overs. So they will feel a little hard done by, but you must give credit to the approach by the Western Conference. At the end of 16, the Western Conference 89 for the loss of 1, requiring a further 13 more runs for victory. Interesting move by the captain. Shivani Bhaskar going to Lisa Ramjit now into the attack. She did bowl an initial spell in their 2 overs. She was expensive, going at 6.5. But same regular programming for Gargi Bogle.
Yeah, there's just no pressure on Gargi at all there. You've got a long off back. They might be just thinking about giving her the single and attacking at Vagala's end, but I just really think Holly Charles would have been the option here. You know, she's going to be your wicket taker. She gets good bounce, good seam, will really attack the batter. Lisa Ramjit probably isn't your wicket-taking bowler. She's more of that economical, keeping it nice and tight and gets her wickets through being nice and tight. At this stage, it doesn't matter about being nice and tight. You just see the East just getting a little sloppy out there. It's sort of they've sort of started to drop the bundle a little bit, and it's hard when you can just see the other team motoring home sometimes. Is how are you going to get yourself up? How do you get yourselves back in these games?
Yeah, very comfortable position for the Western Conference. 14 or more runs required from the remaining 23 deliveries. So really a walk in the park, especially when you've got Gargi Bogle. What a knock it's been by her. 43 from 54 deliveries. Well supported, though. You cannot leave out Isani Vakela, who contributed with the ball. And now, bat in hand, her knock of 29. This has been an outstanding partnership by these two. And she's gone.
Yeah, she came down the wicket to Lisa Ramjit there. Took even more pace off that. Wanted to get on that front foot. And she's been stumped, I believe, down leg side. Is that right? Yep. Stumped down leg side. Great work there from Matali Pat Warden. Great effort there. Just a mistake from the batter. Oh, she's gone inside out, and it's bowled up. Yeah. Taken out that leg stump. So what an innings, though, by Gargi Bogle. Really got this West team on side, but she was all over the shop on that one. We talk about having a clear plan, and I don't think that was the ball that she had that clear plan on, but she's bowled batted a fantastic innings here. Fantastic innings here. Tried to work that one to the leg side and played all around it. And got taken out the leg stump. So we've been Lasia Malapati's coming out. Another left-hander replacing left-hander. So this will be interesting. She's a bit of a live wire, Lasia, and it'll be interesting with these two at the crease. They're very good friends as well. We'll have great communication as well, and we'll be like little rabbits running between the wickets, I would imagine.
Well, Julia, you mentioned in terms when you were speaking earlier about the power hitting ability for the Western Conference. You mentioned Lasia's name, but if she can hit some... I want to see her hit some powerful strokes. You know, she's not the tallest or the biggest just yet. But if if she is what you say her to be, hopefully she can find the gap with some of her timing.
Yeah, she's an aggressive bat. She's been working on trying to hit over the top of cover. She understands that that's a really important way of scoring runs, as well as plenty of shots along the ground. In fact, Asani and her are very similar in the way that they go about their scoring generally. Asani probably plays a fraction straighter, but this will be either over very quickly for the West, or she'll be coming back to the stadium pretty quickly in the change rooms. Tough to come out straight to Lisa Ramjet, I have to admit. It's really slow bowling, like we mentioned before. It's tough to get in on this wicket. They've brought the field up, so that's good that they've kept the one fielder out, I'm assuming, for that full toss or the bad ball.
Yeah, Lisa Ramjet finally getting that so desired wicket. The crucial one of Gargi Bogle. Should be disappointed that she wasn't able to get to that half century. Dismissed on 42, but I think it's really encouraging to see her bat with that sort of intent, and I think it would be really exciting to see how she goes about in a 50-over contest, because definitely you can see the T20 game is suited to her style of play, but with more time at the crease, as Ramjet starts with a one wide outside the off stump, but in the tram lines. But getting back to Gargi Bogle, I think with more time, if she's got more time, the ease at which she showed and the comfort in terms of when she's in and well set, well, you never know what she could produce.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the fact that Lacia then just left that first ball, had a bit of a look at it.
Oh, come on, Julia. She's letting you down. No fireworks.
No, she's... No, we actually did leaving practice, in fact, in the Bay Area about a month or so ago, because a lot of the girls actually had never left a ball. They just go in there and they start batting like they're midway through their innings. So it was quite an interesting experience for a lot of them, and Lacia particularly found it quite an interesting battle.
I tell you, the bowling of Lisa Ramjet makes me almost think of someone you look at her action of a Sunil Narain, because the way she releases the ball as well, she's got revs on it, because sometimes comes out the front of the hand. So interesting, and obviously working to the favor of the Eastern Central Conference. At the end of 17 overs, the Western Conference 18-9 for 2, a further 13 runs required from 18 deliveries.
I think there's a little bit of a debate about who's going to be bowling this over, and it looks like it's Annika Wallison again from this end.
Yeah, I would think, maybe go back to the pace of Kodali, who's still got 1 over remaining, or Holly Charles. We haven't seen us yet, just the 1 over up front.
Well, I do know that Shabani and Holly are actually sharing a room at the moment in the hotel, so I'm not sure if Holly's left a dirty laundry on the floor, or she's done something that Shabani doesn't like, or she snores in her sleep. I'm not sure what's happening there, but she doesn't seem to want to give her the ball at this stage. Maybe she's spending too much time in the bathroom, I'm not sure. Hogging the mirror. Great shot there from Asani. Bit of width. Left it out there. That's a second run always there. They need to get there quickly. Could be a chance. If they'd gone early, they would have made that very easily. These two have got to make sure that they keep pushing it. No matter what the situation in the game, you want to make sure you're maximising all the time.
Yeah, a couple more of those doubles. A Bajan couple, not a standard English couple, but a few more and they'll be well home. The Western Conference has been a complete display in terms of with the ball in hand. They were able to pick up wickets at crucial intervals. I really enjoyed the field placing of Sindhushri Harsha, with that aggressive nature in terms of her captaincy, one of the most experienced players on show. And this one now over the cover fielder, should just be a single. And then with the bat, losing that early wicket of Chetna Prasad, the way Gargi Bogle and Isani Veghela, went about things initially. It is a tough surface to start on. They ran hard between the wickets, and they've set this up beautifully for the Western Conference.
Yeah, it's important as well. The role shift here has now happened. Asani Veghela needs to step up now. She was sort of playing a second fiddle, but a beautiful supportive role to Gargi Bogle. But as soon as she was out, she now has to step up there. She's been out there for the longest. And as you can see, she's already started to really accelerate and open up a little bit and allow Lacia probably just to rotate the strike, expose a few of the gaps and get those singles. Didn't quite get her feet moving on that one. And it's always a lot easier when you're sitting in the change rooms than being out in the middle, be able to get off strike as quickly as you'd like. And I said, just getting a little stuck at the moment.
Oh, there we go. There's the fireworks we've been waiting on, and Coach Price has been waiting on. Last year, Mulapadi finally gets underway with a double.
Yeah, again, there's that width. Throw your hands at it. No one behind the wicket other than sort of a slightly backward point. So fairly low risk. It's a little bit of a shame at this stage. You've got to have those catching positions. They've got to be taking wickets. If they're going to win this game, they really need to put the pressure back on them. Stump to stump. Make sure the LBW and the bowled is still in play every single time at this stage. Much better delivery there from Onika Wallison.
Yeah, an observation, I think, from the Eastern Central Conference bowlers, when that partnership was meandering along, they looked very relaxed and may have needed that extra impetus to try and break that partnership. Could have seen some different bowling changes as well. We saw early on in the innings, the captain Bhaskar didn't want the batsman to settle. This one goes big. I can tell you already, Julia, I like the look of Lassia Mulapadi in these last two deliveries. Goes over cover this time. She's got all the shots.
Yeah, I'm just really pleased for her because I know that she's been working on that shot, and it's so nice to be able to see players that have been working on something in the nets and they take it out into the middle, particularly at a bit of a pressure time like this. So well done to Lassia Mulapadi. That's what we really like to see, is we like to see players challenging themselves.
That brings us to the end of the over. 6 required, 1 shot away. I'm sure Lassia Mulapadi will fancy her chances to go all the way. 6 from 12 deliveries for victory for the Western Conference. So the wicket taker, Lisa Ramjit, can she perform some miracle to get her team back into this one? She wants the victory, the Isani Vaikela. She deserves to hit the winning runs at least. Been there for so long, built that partnership with Gargi Bogle. Then, as you mentioned, taking the next step when Lassia Mulapadi came to the crease.
I do like the field that they've got set for her, though. Lisa Ramjit, she's brought up her long on and long off. She hasn't really been hitting them in the air anyway, so they want to force her to do something that she doesn't normally do. She does like that slog sweep, however. So I like the fact that they'd set the field correctly. And now they've got the new batter. Still not a lot of pressure on that batter, though. I'd be bringing someone in right under her nose, slow pitching in front of the wicket.
This one in the air, the captain Bhaskar unable to hold on to it. And, you know, many people will look at Lassia Mulapadi, Julia, and say, oh, well, she's probably a nudger and a nerdler, as they say where I'm from. But my, oh my, she's packed the punch, little pocket rocket.
Absolutely. If you ever meet Lassia, you're not going to get a word in. She's very chatty, very confident, got a great energy about her. So, and surprisingly, that's exactly what her batting's like as well.
Yeah, when she starts to hit the weight room as she grows older, she's going to be seriously a power threat for this USA Women's Cricket national team. So I'm excited to see how she goes along in her development. But love the intent. Not something you see every day from most of the women cricketers. So great to see that attacking nature.
Nice adjustment there too. She tried to come down the wicket and then realised that she was out of position and just guided that down to a waiting third in Holly Charles.
Got a very tight grip, that bottom hand. Very low on the bat, so clearly looking to go big.
Another good shot. Straight down the ground. Nice and safe. Back over the bowler's head. She's doing exactly what you'd hope a batter would come in at this stage. I mean, she's actually taken the lead role at the moment. So normally that the incoming batter would be just nudging it around and putting the set batter on strike. But she's just taking this by the scruff of the neck at the moment. It wants to get home and start doing recovery.
Well, 2 more required for victory. They're very close, the Western Conference, and it's really been an outstanding performance by them with the bat in hand. Never really looked too bothered by the 102 after the Duckworth-Lewis was set. And it's very hard to get that power off the bowling of Lisa Ramjit because it's so slow, especially on this slower surface as well.
Yeah, a little bit lucky to probably get away with that one. I thought it might have been a wide delivery, and I think Vergela made that fairly clear that she thought it was as well.
Well, just be 1 into the onside. So scores level. Both these teams would have came out today wanting to play a good game of cricket. We did see a lot of high quality moments and good players. So end of the over, just 1 required now to get off the final over 6 deliveries. And surely Isani Vaghela, she's done her job. 33 correction from the 41 deliveries. Looks to be the seam of Gerika Kodali back into the attack after those 4 Wallison overs. Just 1 run to defend, so she's got some job to do. What is it like, Julia? We go to super over if this game ties?
That's a very good question. I think I actually sent out all the rules and regulations to everyone else. I think it's just a tie in 50 over cricket.
Yes, that's correct. But I mean, you know, with the reduction in overs, I thought it was worth asking.
It was, and it'd be a miracle at this stage as well. It'd be 8 for none. So it'd be probably world record sort of stuff. But at the same time, you never know. Bowl nice and straight.
Or 5 bouncers. She's not a tall woman, Isani Vaghela. Well, bat on ball. She did go short, and it's dropped. Should have been out. Nishka Kumar was under it and puts that one down. But a fitting end to the innings for the Western Conference as they cruise home quite comfortably in this one, winning by some 8 wickets. A dominant performance, and that will be all she wrote. So credit to Gargi Bogle with her 41, and then followed up excellently by Isani Vaghela with a 34 not out. Julia, as coach, surely you must be very happy with that performance.
Yeah, an excellent performance. And what I really like about it is you can see Gitika Kadali on the last ball. Knew Isani wasn't as confident against the short pitch bowling, and she's dug one in, didn't get the wicket, but they're going to put that in the bank. We've still got 4 games to go for the rest of this series. We've got 1 50 over game on Friday, and we've still got 3 T20s after that. So a fantastic effort there from the West to take out the win today. A good competitive game. East really need to have a look at it. They've got a strong pace bowling attack. They just need to get their execution correct.
Yeah, and just as we recap the scorecard in terms of from the batting team, really was a dominant performance we mentioned by Gargi Bogle. She set the tone at the top of the order in there from the onset. And really was refreshing for the Western Conference. Anytime any pressure came into play, well, she was always able to weather the storm, and she was really well supported by Isani Vaghela. That was a crucial partnership in the complexion of this game, and it allowed the job to be very easy when Lassia Mulapudi came in to finish things off.
Yeah, great effort. And as we mentioned, this is what we want. We want that pressure. We want that competition. We want to see how girls are going to be bouncing back from maybe some disappointing performances, and also maybe from some of them if they've batted well, and how they're going to repeat that and be consistent. And that's what we're looking for as USA Cricket. We're trying to find consistent performers with bat and ball. and also in their fielding positions as well. So girls are really enjoying themselves. You can see them all waving at their family and friends that were here who came out to support. So a great effort again from the West, a fantastic effort from Gagi Bogle, and I would assume, without presuming too much, I would say she probably gets the player of the match today.
Yeah, the Sister Mortgage player of the match won after every game of this series. She's definitely a massive candidate, Gagi Bogle, after her tremendous innings. Just a look finally at the bowling card for the Eastern Central Conference. Unable to get the job done today, but they'll still take some positives out of that. The likes of, Onika Wallison, who was able to bowl a beautiful delivery to dismiss Cheddar Prasad. And Lisa Ramjad as well. I thought she was excellent on the slower surface, being able to change it up with her variance and pace, and she in the wickets as well.
Yeah, I think, and one of the things that we did notice was just that why Holly Charles didn't come on and bowl again. She opened the bowling, went for 4 runs, and didn't get seen again. So I'd love to just find out what was going on there. I think that could have been a real game changer if they'd been able to get her. We saw that Onika Wallison went for quite a few runs, went for 27 off her 4. Lisa Ramjat, the only other wicket taker, but she also went for quite a few runs as well when they sort of started to be limited a little bit in their attack, the East. So they'll be looking to bounce back on Friday and really review what they could be doing better in order to take on this Western Conference team. It now goes one up in the Sister Mortgage Women's National Championships.
Yeah, they'll be definitely looking to bounce back. Well, the Sister Mortgage Women's National Championships 2021. Finally, we've got a completed game. The rains came, but we weathered that storm, much like the Western Conference, as they get over the line by 8 wickets. Do join us as we continue this series, where we've got the 28 best female cricketers in the USA Cricket national setup all on display, and we continue to expose the new talent to the rest of the world. Thank you very much. Look forward to having you on Friday for the third 50 over encounter.